and one for the intelligent as fellas get. Listen, let's settle this. Be clear, I can fall back 7 years, still it ain't no one ahead of me. Consider it a blessing if you get to stand next to me. 5-star general, OG veteran, cake like.
What's up, everybody? Started that a little close. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about a subject that I've been asked quite a bit on, especially Periscope seems to be the one. What I think about Kinobody, or I think it's Kinobody. K-I-N-O-B-O-D-Y. Kinobody, whatever, however the fuck you say it. Anyway, he's a YouTuber, so I didn't know who he was. I kept being asked over and over again, what do I think? Do I think he's natural? Do you think he's natty, bro? Is he half natty? What's the deal? So I'm like, okay, let me go look for this guy. So I pull it up, and right away, the thing that pops up, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if this is the guy they're talking about. Because I'm like, you know, it doesn't look like there would be a whole lot of questions about whether this guy's natty or not. And, excuse me, so I check it out. The channel's got like 200,000 subscribers. He's a young kid. You know, I start thumbing through some of his stuff. I see him take the steroid test. Or not steroid test. I see him take the testosterone test. And I'm looking at this kid's physique. And apparently, at the time he took the testosterone test, he hadn't even been training for quite a while. He had an injury. He was unable, I think it was to his right arm or something like that. He was unable to train. And I'm looking at this kid and said, let me go back through and see some of his progress from like the beginning to now and see where he's come, how far he's come. And I can honestly say by looking at this kid, he is not taking anabolic steroids. That is my personal opinion. He is not taking them. Now, even when he stopped training, he didn't lose a whole lot of muscle mass. I think it's like for 2 or 3 months or whatever the case would be. He didn't lose the amount of muscle mass. Like, let's say when I stopped training, I lose a shit ton of muscle mass very quickly. That's because a lot of that muscle would be when I was taking drugs. So if I stopped taking the drugs and I wasn't training, or even if I kept taking the drugs and I wasn't training, I would shrink up very quickly. I know that for a fact. This happened to all my friends, happened to me. That's just how that works. Now, he's not training. He lost, you know, I think his body weight is very similar. His arms measured almost the same. I mean, he basically lost a little muscle, gained a little bit of fat. But this kid has that type of physique. When you look at him, he appears to be very bigger muscle-wise than he actually is. He's got a good overall balance and symmetry, good insertions, that makes him very square and broad. And he naturally is a lean guy. That's how that works. Now, I had a friend, actually my best friend still, Henry. You guys have seen him in the pictures, or, you know, not so much pictures, but videos. I filmed him a couple times talking about stuff when we were younger, when I go to visit them back in Rhode Island for the holidays. And Henry, when we were in high school, both of us were metalheads. So we were, you know, fairly skinny. And then we started playing sports again. Now, my thing was I was trying to gain weight. And I was like working out. I was taking weight gainers. And I was fucking really trying to gain weight. And I was busting my ass. And Henry would kind of come to the gym every once in a while and putz around. And he was super vascular everywhere. Just veins everywhere. And that'd be like the first thing he points out. I'd be like, check out those veins. Like everywhere. Vascular as fuck all the time. Calves. Fucking big, thick calves. His father had them. It was genetic. They just fucking were like that. He never trained them. He didn't fucking, never even fucking thought about training them at the gym. Big calves. So he would wear shorts, and the calves stick out at the bottom, and he had very wide, square shoulders, a square chest, so where the insertions weren't, you know, kind of round on the inside, it was just fucking square, straight across. His arms are very lean, and, you know, abdominal-wise, he had like a long waist and stayed very lean. So he never had like the little bit hanging over his belt or anything like that. It was just naturally lean. So I think I was about 145 pounds. Henry was probably 150, maybe about 5 pounds more than me. And I would be working my ass off, and he would laugh. He'd be like, check that out. And he would flex his arm, and he'd just have this fucking, he had a high bicep peak, a short, I mean, it was just, he was physically, you know, built to look a certain way. And in our day, this goes to show you how old we are. There was a guy who came along, who I also don't believe personally, honestly, was ever on steroids. I had met the guy in person. I know how big he was in person. Mark Wahlberg. Mark actually was Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch back in the day. They actually came to Warren, Rhode Island, where I lived, and recorded their album at Normandy Sound. It's a true story. Aerosmith recorded there. New Kids on the Block recorded their album there, and he recorded there, Marky Mark. Now, when I saw him, he was walking around, hat backwards, one of these fucking deals, like fucking one of this shits like this, no shirt. And I remember thinking, like, he's not big, but he looked a lot bigger because he was so lean. He looked like he was photoshopped in person. All those Calvin Klein ads, if you go back and look at them now, you know, he's maybe about 145, 150 pounds max at his height. He's not a tall guy. He's shorter than I am. And if you look at Mark Wahlberg throughout the years, he sometimes gets a little pudgier in the gut, sometimes gains a little weight, but he's never really fat, but has that square build, has the fucking shoulders that are fucking like hunched over. Like he kind of has that athletic build, the muscle insertions, the bone lengths, all that stuff like that. Again, You know, he never blows up, shrinks down. You know, even for that movie Pain and Gain with The Rock in it. You know, when Wahlberg got a little bit bigger, he got a little bit fatter with it. Like, you know, he didn't just blow up like he was on drugs. He can gain weight and lose weight fairly easily. He's just like Henry. Very lean, very square built. And this guy, Kinobody, is the same fucking body type. You look at him, he's the same thing. He's taller than both of them, but it's the same type of thing. He's naturally lean. The insertions are good. He's not so super strong that he's fucking, you know, beyond, you know, the comprehension that you could be like this or do this. And what I'm seeing again is this guy get a lot of hate. This Kinobody getting a lot of hate. People calling him fake natty. He's on steroids. He actually had to go get a fucking testosterone test to try to prove to people that he's not on anything. And the lady said, the doctor said, without a doubt, she's seen people on shit. He is absolutely not taking anything. So, you know, I kind of look at it and I go, here's another kid, young kid. I don't know if he lives with his parents or whatever. I think he lives with somebody. Doing well for himself, being himself, putting himself out there for the world. Judging by the views that are on his video, he's inspiring a lot of people and motivating a lot of people. And instantly people point to the fact that, oh, he's taking drugs. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Dude, I swear, I'm telling you right now, the kid's not fucking taking anything. I know he's not. He has a body that's achievable if you fucking train hard. Now, let's look at it this way. By the time I was 19 years old, Henry, who had the jump on me as far as, you know, the physical look and strength and stuff like that, by the time I was 19, I had trained and dieted and eaten my way up to 203 pounds, 203, 205. I had blew right past Henry because Henry wasn't on any drugs. It wasn't not achievable. It was achievable, and I achieved it and beyond natural hard work, training, paying attention to little details, doing that stuff. And this kid's physique is attainable, but the problem is for him it's going to come easier based on his genetics, just like Henry. If Henry did the same shit that I did, me at 203, Henry would have blew past me, probably hit 220 in better shape. But it wasn't his thing. He wasn't into it. He liked to play basketball. He liked to play sports. He wasn't into bodybuilding. He just putzed around with it because I was into it. You know, so a lot of people, you know, this Kinobody, it's going to come easier to him than a lot of people based on his genetics. And a lot of people out there, they don't store fat like that. They're going to be fatter and have to work their asses off. You know, some people are going to be even skinnier than him and try to build the muscle. And it's going to be harder for them, and they're going to say, it's impossible. He has to be taking something. Pay attention. I'm going to give you the secret, 100% the secret to all this shit. The secret of the pros, the secret of Kinobody, the secret to fucking everyone out there. Genetics. Your genetic response to training, your genetic response to food, your genetic response to drugs, your genetic response to supplements. Everybody has a genetic response to things that will get them to a certain place faster and easier than other people. And other people are going to have to work harder than that person does. But it doesn't mean that it's not achievable. It means you have to put in more time than this person. Let's say this kid, Kinobody, wanted to be a powerlifter at his height. He's not benching 500-600 fucking pounds like those guys at his height. You know what it would take for him to build that kind of fucking mass? So like his genetics would hold him back compared to that. You know, or let's say he wanted to be a fucking jockey and ride a fucking horse. You know, his genetics are going to hold him back there. He just happens to decide to do something that his genetics are really prone to that's going to give him an advantage. And I think that's where a lot of people miss the boat. Rather than do something that they're genetically fit to, I'm a perfect example. I fought my genetics for years as a bodybuilder. When physique came out, I even fought it then and said, I don't want to do physique. My genetics are for physique. My bone structure, the small bones, the way I carry muscle mass, my symmetry, all that stuff is geared more towards physique than bodybuilding. So eventually I shifted into what my genetics were more prone to be able to do that. And now you got guys that are saying, Jerry must be on tons of drugs because he has to be able to do what he's doing because this guy has to take a bunch of drugs to get up to that level. It's like, well, this guy's genetics are to be even smaller and skinnier than me. He's going to have to work harder to get there than I did to get there. This is what my genetics are prone to. So be aware, guys. Just because somebody looks good, they have a good physique, doesn't mean that they're fucking taking something all the time. You know, I fully expected to log onto this scene and see this like fucking big monster that was shredded and fucking out of his mind, just had the weird fucking growth hormone face and all that shit. And I saw this kid with a very achievable physique, a good head on his shoulders, a good message he's putting out there. And I'm like, why the fuck would anybody hate on this kid? I wish more of these young kids would follow in his footsteps, Christian Guzman's footsteps, and all these guys, and stop fucking hating and bitching and moaning and just do something with yourself. A bunch of you out there right now that are fucking with this kid and making fun of him and busting his balls, if you took all that energy and put it into a fucking YouTube channel yourself and busted your fucking ass and made it about you and your fucking mark in the world, I guarantee that your fucking channel would take off. You'd be doing the fucking same thing. You don't have to sell supplements, you don't have to sell clothes, but just be productive in the world. Biohazardtraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biohazardtraining.com is the blog. It's the Be Productive, and Kinobody is not on steroids. Bicep, and we're out.